Flux revived. Welcome. I'll take this opportunity, Flux. Welcome to the stream. This is general education, this channel, so no real advice to be given, right? Because as I always say, it could be for some folks on the channel that GameStop, the individual stock, may not even be a good stock for people to buy as an individual, right? So I always say, sit down with a financial professional, someone who can learn about your personal situation. And I know I'm a broken record saying that, but I really mean that for folks. But yeah, so that's what I mean, Flux. It's difficult to, it's not possible to give advice for those sorts of things. I can only share. I share from a general education standpoint my more high risk type approach investment strategy. And so that's the thing. Like I feel like that's what I can share on this front. And for that on that front, right? So first of all, Flux revived. I have a couple of videos on my channel that talk about my investment style. It's very aggressive, and it may not be suitable for a lot of people, but that's my style, and that's what it is. And so for my particular style, I would just say I'm in this box right here in my mindset. I have a time frame too. It's not just, so when I say I have a higher risk strategy, and my time horizon may differ from a lot of folks too. I'm like a longer term, generally speaking, longer term investor relative to some folks out there. And so that's the thing, like these types of moves, I'm like, whatever. But as far, like I said, general education, even remove GameStop from this is kind of small, but forget GameStop. But just when you're in this like technical setup like this, and you're kind of like boxed in an area and stuff, generally speaking, what you would do is it can be a good idea to maybe add on pullbacks down to the low range of the box or the technical support or whatever it might be, and then maybe trim on the higher end of the box. You know what I mean? That's like, this is marginal action, right? My style is grounded in the fundamentals, right? That's where I feel you can get some of the strongest returns. But this is more marginal type stuff, like small adds and small trims. But that's the thing. So just as a reminder for folks, I'm a value investor. Like big wins for someone like me is buying not when the chart looks good, but when the chart looks like shit, like right here, when there was no one tuned into the stream. When no one's tuned into the stream, but some of us, right? Some of us in the chat we've been long a while, right? But these are the charts where you may be establishing the position or averaging into the position over time. And now at this point, when it starts to rise and maybe it starts to give it a bit more of an elevated valuation, then it becomes more nuanced decisions like adding and trimming and so forth, and those types of things. Plus, whether something's an outright buy really depends on your personal strategy. Like I'm often going for, like I said, like 3, 5 baggers, sometimes even 10 baggers for stocks. And so for me, certain things are still a buy, but then for other folks it's not. So that you know what I mean? The answer is always it depends, right? It sucks, but that's always what the answer is. But good. I mean, a legit question, Flux, and welcome. Yeah, so that's the thing. So Super Saucy talking about one announcement and stuff. So that's the thing. Like that's what I say. These are nuanced. These are like marginal decisions. I feel like I need a new word besides marginal. These are marginal decisions. Like as Super Sussy, like it's the fundamentals this types of stocks that I deal in, it's the fundamentals that are the driving force behind this stuff. As Super Sussy says, I mean, you get one major announcement, or for some stocks, one major bearish announcement, right? And you're at a brand new level. That's something to consider. Is like, that's what I mean. Like this box type stuff, marginal. You get one major announcement that changes people's outlook on GameStop, that they've found a way to leverage their 60 million Power Rewards members, right, as an advertising platform. How many times have we talked about it? If you get an announcement on that, people are going to start thinking differently about GameStop, and then the chart doesn't matter. Its stock could just potentially take off. You know what I mean? And so anyway, I kind of agree with Saucy's sentiment there, with regard to the fact that one news announcement can just change everything. That's not to say it will happen or anything like that, right? But that's how my style of investing works, is that I'm not blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so Super Saucy saying price on rice pullbacks. Like I'm kind of in that. Like it was nice. We were in mid-10. Weren't we in mid-10s? We're in mid-10s. I'm like, damn, that's kind of that's a good. Oh, we were right below. Remember, we fell below the box. And for some folks might see that and they might think, oh, well, that's bearish. And that's why I said, for my style, like just dipping your toe in, just going one day below the box, no big deal for me. I always want to see that follow through, right? Many folks, that's nothing too unique. A lot of folks are like that, and then you bounce right back up, right back into the box. And now it's up a little bit, but not too much. Yeah, so I kind of agree. So I kind of agree. So they're talking about that, where that downside is a solid. That's what I think. I kind of agree. And then I talk about the chart, but there are also some buyers of the shares, some large buyers of the shares in that $8 and $9 range. So these are the types of things that can help support that. It doesn't mean it's it's completely limited. There's always down. If the whole market sells off, right, every stock will go down. But from this marginal type analysis, those are the types of setups I like to see. A pullback down to roughly technical support, in that area of technical support, and ideally with some potential buyers in there. And we had Senvest buying in in the $9 range. We had Ryan Cohen buying all the way from $4, $5, $6, $8 into the $8 range, right? I mean, you don't have this too often where you kind of I kind of agree with Rod, you know what I mean? That's all you can say. There's a solid bid there. Doesn't mean the price couldn't crash right through it, but as far as a setup goes, that's a really good setup to have. So I agree with Sasi and Rod there. Oh, Flux, you got it. You were waiting for a mid to high 10 entry. Oh, I think you got it. That's the thing. I was just trying to remember myself. See what I mean? Damn, when I switch between the two, you can't see that. Wait, I think I had it open. Ah, shit. I just want to remind myself, did we get into the mid-10s? I think we did. Yeah, we did. See what I mean? That's the thing. Just quick educational type stuff. When after a stock has sold off for 5 days, no one wants to buy it. But if you're really dialed into the thesis, you kind of know how the stock price is behaving. You kind of know. This is why I said, you can't be shaken out by just a one-day move. On the flip side, you might view it as a buying opportunity. You know what I mean? But what happens is it gets tough to pull the trigger for some folks because they just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and then everyone starts thinking, oh, this was a false run-up. You know what I mean? It was a false positive, and people start thinking like that. Whereas people who understand the fundamentals and are dialed into what we believe to be the right story can understand, oh, that might be a good opportunity to add to it a little bit. You know what I mean? And we're not even that much above it, but you legit got to those 10. You got to 10. Yeah, you got to 1030s. Wow. Yep. And I kind of agree with Ron too. And that upside, right? You get in that range, boom. And this is the short-term one, but even you see it on the long-term one. They're kind of crossing a little bit, that 15, 16, 17 range. So that's kind of like that short-term mindset, but you know what I mean, the adding and trimming, opportunistic small adds and trims. But that's what I'm seeing too, that like 10 to 11 to 15, 16, $17 range. And really, no matter what, even if we pop to 15, we can pop to 15 tomorrow, and not much changes for me. You know what I mean? It's still like stay the course. Let's just see. I want to see my thesis unfold. You know what I mean? Yep. As Rod says, if you get that longer term outlook, this stuff it's important. Again, educational channel here. It's important. If that's the style you're going to adopt, you don't really worry about this stuff too much. Cheers, Rod. Cheers. Look at that. Rod talking about $100 plus is by January 2023. January 2023. What is it? 2021. Oh, okay. So just over 2 years. Yeah, that's the thing. I've been talking about how I can get it's not necessarily the likely outcome or anything like that, but that's the thing. I feel as though some people can't even imagine that that's a legitimate possibility. And I'm like, oh, that's definitely a legitimate possibility because of some of the, oh, did you see that? I hope people liked that. I hope you found it helpful. Do I got it here? It was, whatever. The graphic that I tweeted out, right? I included that in there, trying to share the thesis, my thesis, that maybe some people disagree. Oh, what am I doing? My profile. Where is it? This. So I include some of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like this is good. So I get the bullet point list here. For me, I can get to these. I mean, I know they sound crazy high price points, right? And this shit takes time. This isn't like this isn't like short squeeze type thesis, right? This is fundamentals based thesis, and that shit takes time. But like when I think through these different items that a company in GameStop's unique position can potentially execute on, I think, yep, I can get there. I can get to quite a bit of free cash flows with something like this. And whereas I'm kind of surprised that other folks hold, or if they can, they just. But this is the thing, GameStop's many investors out there have been ascribing a very low probability to many of GameStop's paths, like bullish paths, for the past year. So it's nothing too absurd to me. Like no one, it seems as though not many market participants want to assign a serious probability to like this first bullet point, number one. You know what I mean? That they just can't replace any of the new and used physical disc sales, and then a lot of this stuff, and then their position in the industry. And so that some of this stuff is dragging on. I'm like, all right, this is still this type of stock for now. But so we're talking about that price target. So yeah, I don't know. But it's grounded in these types of things. A successful execution of many of these bullet points. In particular, just number one. It's just successful execution of replacing or countering the reduced new and used